Introduction: The myth of the born leader. You just been promoted. You were a star individual contributor, a brilliant engineer, a top salesperson. And as a reward for your excellent work, you have been given the opportunity to become a manager. The initial excitement quickly gives way to a quiet, creeping sense of terror. Suddenly, the skills that made you successful are obsolete. Your job is no longer to do the work. It is to get the work done through others. You look at the great leaders you admire, the inspiring, charismatic visionaries who seem to effortlessly command the respect and loyalty of their teams, and a powerful, disempowering myth takes hold: the myth of the born leader. You believe that leadership is a magical, innate quality. It is a personality trait, a gift of charisma that you are either born with or you are not. You see yourself as a technical expert, not a people person, and you are now convinced that you are an imposter, a fraud who is just waiting to be found out. This myth is the single biggest reason that the majority of new managers fail, and it is completely false. Great leadership is not a personality type. It is a skill. It is not an art. It is a system. A great leader is not a charismatic visionary. They are a meticulous architect of people. They are an engineer who systematically designs an environment where talented individuals can do their best work. The skills of running a one-on-one, of giving effective feedback, of setting clear goals, these are not magical gifts. They are learnable, repeatable, and architectural processes. Welcome to From Zero to Leader. This is not a book of abstract, inspirational leadership theories. This is a practical, step-by-step roadmap for becoming a confident, effective, and respected manager and leader. We will treat your transition into leadership not as a personality test, but as an engineering project. First, we will demolish the myth of the born leader and install the powerful team architect mindset. We will give you the blueprints for navigating the treacherous first 90 days and for building the unbreakable foundation of trust. Next, we will give you the tactical, word-for-word playbooks for the most critical skills in your new role: running an effective one-on-one, giving feedback that motivates, delegating work, and architecting a high-performing team culture. Finally, we will show you how to manage not just your team, but your own career by mastering the art of managing up and building a powerful partnership with your own boss. It's time to stop letting the "I'm not a people person" myth hold you back. Your logical mind, your empathy, and your ability to think systematically are your greatest assets. The system is learnable. The path begins now. Part 1. The Foundation. The Architecture of Modern Leadership. Case File 01. The Architect's Mindset. You are not a boss. You are a team architect. Before you schedule your first team meeting, we must perform the most critical and profound identity shift of your new career. The number one reason that new managers fail, and the reason that most people hate their jobs, is that their manager is operating under the wrong identity. They're trying to be a boss. A boss is a commander. Their mindset is one of command and control. They believe their job is to tell people what to do, to monitor their work, and to be the person with all the right answers. They are the hero, the star player. They are a source of authority. You're not here to be a boss. You're here to be a team architect. This is a non-negotiable and game-changing distinction. An architect's primary goal is not to be the star player. Their goal is to design a system where the players can win. They are a coach, a facilitator, a systems thinker. Their job is not to have all the answers. Their job is to create an environment where the team can find the best answers. They are not a source of authority. They're a source of clarity. This is a shift from managing the work to managing the system that produces the work. The boss asks, "Is everyone doing their tasks?" The architect asks, "Does everyone on the team have the clarity, the resources, and the autonomy they need to do their best work?" The boss says, "Here is the solution. Go and implement it." The architect says, "Here is the problem we need to solve, and here are the constraints. What are your ideas for the best way to approach this?" The boss's primary measure of success is the team's output. The architect's primary measure of success is the growth and development of the individuals on their team, knowing that a growing team will inevitably produce outstanding output. When you adopt the team architect mindset, your new job has two core functions. First, to be a shield. Your job is to protect your team from the chaos and bureaucracy of the larger organization. Second, to be a fertilizer. Your job is to provide the resources, coaching, and feedback that your team members need to grow. You're no longer the one who scores the goals. You're the one who designs the plays that allow the team to score. This is the mindset that separates the mediocre manager from the truly great leader. Case File 02. The First 90 Days Blueprint. A system for a successful transition into a management role. You have been promoted. You are now the manager of the very team you were a part of yesterday. This is one of the most treacherous and politically charged transitions in the entire corporate world. Your former peers are now your direct reports. The amateur new manager makes a series of predictable and disastrous mistakes. They either try to be the cool manager and pretend that nothing has changed, or they overcompensate, becoming an authoritarian boss overnight. They immediately start proposing big, sweeping changes to prove their value, without first understanding the landscape. The architect understands that their first 90 days are not about proving anything. They are about learning, listening, and building trust. Your goal is not to be a revolutionary. It is to be an anthropologist. This is the Listen First 90-Day Blueprint. It is a three-phase protocol. Phase 1, the listening tour. This is the first 30 days. Your one and only goal is to listen. You are in receive mode only. You will not make any significant changes. You will immediately schedule a 1-hour, one-on-one meeting with every single person on your new team. This meeting is not about you. It is about them. You will ask simple, powerful questions like, what are the biggest frustrations or bottlenecks you face in your work? And what is the one thing you would change about how this team operates if you were in my position? You will also have this same meeting with your own new boss. Phase 2, the quick win. This covers days 31 to 60. Now that you have gathered data, your goal is to identify and execute one or two small, visible, and high-impact quick wins. Look for a common pain point that was mentioned by multiple people on your team. Is there a pointless weekly meeting that everyone hates? Kill it. Is there an inefficient manual process? Automate it. A quick win is a powerful political move that demonstrates you listened and that you take action. Phase 3, the vision and the plan. This covers days 61 to 90. Now, and only now that you have established trust, are you ready to present your own vision for the future of the team. You will call a team meeting, summarize what you heard on your listening tour, and then present a simple, clear plan with 2 to 3 key priorities for the next 90 days. By following this disciplined blueprint, you are architecting a transition that is built on respect and empathy. You're earning the right to lead. Case File 03, the unbreakable laws of trust. The currency of all effective leadership. Your title makes you a manager. Only trust can make you a leader. Trust is the single foundational currency of your team. With it, your team will be engaged, innovative, and resilient. They will give you their discretionary effort. Without trust, your team will be a collection of disengaged mercenaries, doing the bare minimum to collect a paycheck. The amateur manager believes that trust is a soft, fuzzy, emotional concept. The architect knows that trust is not a feeling. It is a mechanical outcome. It is the result of a series of consistent, predictable, and observable behaviors. You do not ask for trust. You build it brick by brick. This is the 4-pillar blueprint for building trust. Pillar 1, competence. Your team needs to believe that you are good at your job as a manager. This means you are organized, you run efficient meetings, you communicate with clarity, and you are effective at managing up and advocating for your team's needs. Pillar 2, integrity. This is the bedrock of trust. It is about reliability and consistency. Your words and your actions must be in perfect alignment. You must have a 1-to-1 say/do ratio. If you promise to do something, you must do it every single time. You must be transparent, even when the news is bad. And when you make a mistake, you own it publicly. Pillar 3, benevolence. Your team needs to believe that you genuinely care about them as human beings and that you are on their side. You will give credit and you will take blame. When the team succeeds, you shine the spotlight on them. When the team fails, you take the blame publicly. You will be a fierce advocate for your team's promotions and their well-being. Pillar 4, communication. In the absence of clear communication from a leader, people will assume the worst. Uncertainty is a trust killer. You will default to transparency. You will explain the why behind every task, not just the what. And you will have a regular, predictable rhythm of communication through your team meetings and your one-on-ones. Trust is not built in a single, grand gesture. It is the slow, patient, and consistent accumulation of these small, daily architectural behaviors. Case File 04, the Leader's Toolbox, Mastering the Tech for Communication and Project Management. As a team architect, your primary job is to create clarity and facilitate effective work. In a modern and often remote team environment, your success is deeply intertwined with your mastery of a few core technology platforms. The amateur manager uses these tools in a chaotic, ad hoc manner. The architect deliberately chooses a minimalist tech stack and architects a set of simple, clear rules of engagement for how the team will use them. This is the Clarity Stack blueprint. First, the asynchronous communication hub, Slack or Microsoft Teams. This is your team-based instant messaging platform. It dramatically reduces the volume of internal email. You must be the one to establish the team's Slack culture. You will create specific, dedicated channels for each project. You will teach your team that Slack is an asynchronous tool, meaning an instant reply is not expected. This is key to protecting your team's focus. And you will teach your team to use threads to keep conversations organized. Second, the single source of truth, Asana, Trello, or Jira. This is your shared, cloud-based project management platform. It completely eliminates the deadly question, who is working on what, and what is the status of that task? Your team's mantra must become, if it's not in Asana, it doesn't exist. Every single task must be assigned to one single individual and have a clear due date. Third, the long-form communication and documentation hub, Google Workspace or Office 365. This is the permanent, organized library for the team's knowledge. Every single meeting you run will have a shared Google Doc that contains the agenda, notes, and action items. You will also architect a clean, simple, and logical folder structure in your team's shared drive. By choosing a simple tool for each of these three functions, chat, project management, and documentation, and by architecting a clear set of rules for how your team will use them, you are building a calm tech culture. You are engineering an operational system that reduces noise, increases clarity, and gives your team the focus they need to do their best work. Part 2. The one-on-one protocol, the heartbeat of management. Case File 05. The perfect one-on-one. A simple framework for coaching, not just checking in. The single most important and highest leverage meeting a manager can have is the recurring, weekly one-on-one with their direct report. This is the heartbeat of your management practice. It is the dedicated time where you build trust, remove roadblocks, and coach your team members to grow. The amateur manager completely wastes this opportunity. Their one-on-ones are a boring, tactical status update. They ask, "What are you working on?" The employee lists their tasks. The manager nods. The meeting ends. It is a transactional, low-value exchange. The architect knows that the one-on-one is not a status update. That's what your project management tool is for. The one-on-one is a coaching session. It is the employee's meeting, not yours. Your job is not to talk. Your job is to listen and to ask powerful questions. This is the coaching one-on-one blueprint. A great one-on-one is a structured, 30-minute conversation with a 3-part framework. Part 1, the connection. This is the first 5 minutes. The goal is to connect on a human level before you dive into the work. You will start every single one-on-one with a simple, genuine, non-work-related question. Before we dive in, how are you? How was your weekend? You must be present. Put your phone away. Close your laptop. Give them your undivided attention. Part 2, their agenda. This is the next 15 minutes and the core of the meeting. It is the employee's time to talk about what is most important to them. The first question you ask is always the same. So, what's on your mind? Your job now is to be a great listener and a great question asker. You're not there to solve their problems for them. You are there to help them think through their own solutions. Ask powerful questions like, what is the biggest roadblock that is currently getting in your way? And what's one thing you're feeling stuck on that I can help with? Part 3, your agenda. This is the final 10 minutes. Now, and only now, is it your turn. This is your time to provide feedback, to give strategic context, or to discuss upcoming priorities. You will end every one-on-one by summarizing the key takeaways and the action items for both of you. By architecting your one-on-ones with this simple, employee-centric framework, you're transforming them from a boring status report into the single most valuable conversation your team member will have all week. Case File 06. The Art of Delegation. How to assign work in a way that empowers your team. You are a new manager, and you're drowning. You were promoted because you were a star individual contributor, and your old habits are dying hard. You still believe that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. You are working 60-hour weeks, trying to do your old job and your new job, while your team members are bored and feel untrusted. This is the delegation trap, and it is the primary reason that high-achieving individual contributors fail when they become managers. They see delegation as a risky, passive act of dumping tasks. The architect understands that delegation is the single most important skill of a leader. It is not a passive act. It is an active, architectural process of empowerment. Great delegation is not about offloading work. It is about growing your people. This is the high-context delegation blueprint. Good delegation is a structured, 5-step conversation. Step 1, the why. This is the strategic context. The amateur says, I need you to create a report. The architect starts by explaining the strategic importance of the task. The executive team is very focused on understanding our customer retention right now. To do that, we need a deep dive analysis of the data. This transforms a boring task into a meaningful mission. Step 2, the what. This is the desired outcome. You will clearly and concisely define what a successful outcome looks like. The successful outcome for this project is a simple 5-slide presentation. Step 3, the how. These are the constraints and resources. You have full access to the analytics database. The only constraint is that we need a first draft by next Friday. You're not telling them how to do the analysis. You're defining the outcome, but giving them the autonomy to figure out the best way to get there. Step 4, the check-in. This is the safety net. You will establish a clear, low-pressure check-in point to ensure the project is on track. Why don't we schedule a quick 15-minute check-in for next Wednesday? Step 5, the confirmation. This is the final handoff. Confirm understanding and officially transfer ownership. Does that all make sense? Do you have any questions before you dive in? Case File 07. The Feedback Engine. A playbook for giving praise and criticism that actually works. Feedback is the engine of growth. It is the data that allows your team members to understand what they're doing well and where they need to improve. A team without a consistent, high-quality feedback loop is a team that is flying blind. And yet, for most managers, giving feedback, especially critical feedback, is the single most anxiety-inducing and poorly executed part of their job. The amateur manager makes 2 critical errors. They either avoid giving critical feedback, letting small problems fester, or they use the dreaded feedback sandwich, a clumsy layering of praise, then criticism, then more praise. This is a weak and confusing technique. The architect knows that feedback is not a personal attack. It is a gift of high-quality data. They have a simple, direct, and compassionate system for delivering it. This is the SBI feedback blueprint. The SBI, or situation, behavior, impact, model is a simple, powerful framework for giving clear and objective feedback. 1. Situation. The goal is to anchor your feedback to a specific moment in time. You will start by stating the where and when. For example, in the team meeting yesterday, or when you were presenting to the client on Tuesday. This is a neutral, factual starting point. 2. B behavior. The goal is to describe the specific, observable behavior that you saw or heard. You must describe the behavior, not your judgment of it. A weak, judgmental statement is, "You were really disrespectful to Jane." A strong, observable statement is, "When Jane was presenting her idea, I observed that you interrupted her 3 times." You cannot argue with an observable fact. 3. I impact. The goal is to explain the impact that the behavior had on you, the team, or the project. You will often use an I statement. When you did that, the impact on me was that I felt like we didn't get to hear the rest of Jane's idea, and I'm worried it might discourage her from speaking up in the future. The SBI model is not just for criticism. It is an incredibly powerful tool for giving specific and meaningful praise. After you have delivered critical feedback using SBI, you will transition into a coaching conversation by asking a simple, open-ended question like, "What's your perspective on what happened?" Case File 08, the career conversation, a system for developing your people and inspiring loyalty. A team member walks into your office and says the words every manager dreads, "I'm putting in my 2 weeks' notice." You're shocked. You thought they were happy. The amateur manager believes that their only job is to get the work done. They are so focused on short-term objectives that they completely lose sight of the long-term, personal objectives of the human beings on their team. The architect knows that in the modern economy, the single greatest driver of employee retention is growth and development. Top performers do not leave for a 10% raise. They leave because they feel stagnant. The architect understands that their most important job is not just to be a manager. It is to be a career coach. The career conversation is a dedicated, structured meeting separate from your regular one-on-ones that you will have with every person on your team at least once or twice a year. It is the single most powerful tool for inspiring loyalty. This is the Growth Plan Blueprint. It is a 3-part framework for a 60-minute conversation. Part 1, the look back. The goal is to understand the employee's journey so far. You will send them questions a week before the meeting. Looking back at the last year, what was a project you were incredibly proud of? What made it so satisfying? And what was a piece of work that completely drained your energy? Part 2, the look forward. The goal is to understand their long-term, personal vision. Ask the magic wand question. Let's fast forward 3 to 5 years. In your ideal world, what kind of work are you doing? What new skills have you mastered? Part 3, the action plan. Now, you will work together to build a bridge between their long-term vision and their current role. You will collaboratively identify 1 or 2 key development areas and a set of specific actions for the next 6 months. For example, giving them a lead on a new project, introducing them to a mentor, or finding a budget for an online course. By architecting these regular, structured career conversations, you are sending the most powerful message possible. I am deeply and personally invested in you and your long-term success. Part 3, the team protocol, architecting a high-performing culture. Case File 09, the meeting mandate, a blueprint for running meetings that don't waste time. The weekly team meeting. For most employees, these words are a trigger for a deep, soul-crushing feeling of dread. They're the single greatest source of wasted time, frustrated energy, and lost productivity in the entire corporate world. The amateur manager runs their meetings as a lazy, unstructured round-robin status update. The meeting has no clear purpose, no decisions are made, and everyone leaves an hour later feeling drained. The architect knows that a meeting is the most expensive thing a company does. If you have 10 people in a 1-hour meeting, you have spent 10 hours of collective company time. A meeting that is not a decision-making forum should have been an email. This is the decision-making meeting blueprint. It is a framework for a 45-minute weekly meeting designed for making decisions, not for sharing status. Step 1, the asynchronous pre-work. You will ban verbal status updates from your meetings forever. The day before the meeting, every team member is required to post a brief, written summary of their weekly progress in a shared Slack channel or Google document. This frees up the entire meeting time for the high-value work of discussion. Step 2, the agenda mandate. There will be no meeting without a clear, written agenda, shared at least 24 hours in advance. The agenda will not be a vague list of topics. It will be a list of questions to be answered. A weak agenda says discuss Project Titan. A strong agenda says decision needed. Should we choose technology A or technology B for Project Titan? Step 3. The meeting structure. Part 1 is the wins for the first 5 minutes. Start every meeting on a positive note. Part 2 is the big rocks for the next 35 minutes. This is the heart of the meeting. You will address the 2 to 3 most important questions from your agenda. Your job is not to talk. Your job is to facilitate. Part 3 is the summary and action items for the final 5 minutes. You will verbally summarize the key decisions and clearly state the action items. By architecting your meetings with this disciplined, decision-focused framework, you're giving your team back their most valuable asset, their time. Case File 10. The Goal-Setting System. OKRs: how to align your team around a shared objective. Your team is working hard. Everyone is busy. But are they all busy working on the right things? In the absence of a clear, shared, and measurable goal, a team will naturally devolve into a collection of individuals working on their own, disconnected priorities. They're a group of rowers, all rowing with immense effort, but in different directions. The amateur manager sets vague, uninspiring goals like, "Our goal this quarter is to improve customer satisfaction." This is a platitude, not a target. It is impossible to measure. The architect knows that their most important job is to provide clarity of purpose. They must build a simple, powerful, and transparent goal-setting system that aligns the entire team. The most effective framework for this is OKRs, or Objectives and Key Results. The OKR system is a beautiful piece of architectural simplicity. It has 2 components. 1. The objective. This is the what. The objective is a qualitative, inspirational, and ambitious statement of what you want to achieve. It should be a short, memorable, and motivating sentence. It is the destination on the map. A good objective should feel slightly uncomfortable and just a little bit out of reach. Examples include: launch a product that our customers absolutely love, or become the undisputed #1 source of traffic in our niche. 2. The key results. This is the how. The key results are the quantitative, measurable, and specific metrics that will prove you have achieved your objective. You will have 3 to 5 key results for each objective. Every key result must have a number. If it doesn't have a number, it is not a key result. For the objective, launch a product that our customers absolutely love. The key results might be: achieve a Net Promoter Score of 60 or higher, achieve a 4.8-star rating in the App Store, and reduce customer support tickets by 50%. OKRs are not a top-down directive. They are a collaborative contract. At the beginning of each quarter, you will propose a high-level objective. Then, in a team-wide meeting, you will facilitate a brainstorming session where the entire team works together to define the measurable key results. This creates a deep sense of ownership. Every weekly team meeting will begin with a 5-minute review of the OKRs to keep the team's single, most important objective at the top of their minds. Case File 11. The Psychological Safety Protocol. How to create an environment where great ideas can thrive. You have a high-performing team. They are aligned around clear goals. But there is an invisible force that is silently strangling their potential: fear. It is the fear of speaking up, of asking a stupid question, of proposing a risky idea, or of admitting a mistake. In a team that lacks psychological safety, the employees are playing a defensive, not-to-lose game. Their primary motivation is to protect themselves and not rock the boat. They will keep their best ideas to themselves. They will hide their mistakes until they become crises. The team may be productive, but it will never be truly innovative. The amateur manager believes their job is to have the best ideas. The architect knows their job is to create an environment where the best ideas can emerge from anyone on the team. Psychological safety is that environment. It is a shared belief within the team that it is safe to take interpersonal risks. As a leader, architecting this environment is your single most important job. This is the psychological safety blueprint. 1. The vulnerability mandate. You must go first. The team will not be vulnerable if you are not vulnerable first. You must be the first person to say, I screwed up. Here's what I learned. You must be the first to say, I don't know the answer to that. What do you all think? 2. The intellectual humility protocol. You must divorce your ideas from your ego. You will actively encourage healthy, passionate, and respectful debate. You will model a language of curiosity, not certainty. Instead of my idea is the best, you will say, here's a hypothesis I have. What are the potential flaws in this line of thinking? 3. The blameless postmortem. When a project fails, the goal is not to find someone to blame. The goal is to understand the systemic flaw that allowed the mistake to happen. You will facilitate a postmortem meeting where you're not allowed to use personal pronouns. The focus is on the process, not the person. 4. The no stupid questions reinforcement. You must actively and publicly reward the behaviors you want to see. When a junior team member asks a simple, clarifying question, you must thank them for it. That is an excellent question. Thank you for asking it. Case File 12. The Conflict Resolution Playbook, a system for navigating difficult team dynamics. You have two high-performing, talented members on your team, but they clash. They have different working styles and a growing personal animosity. Their conflict is starting to create a toxic atmosphere in team meetings. The amateur manager, terrified of confrontation, makes a critical error. They avoid the problem. They hope that the two adults will work it out on their own. This is a dereliction of duty. Unresolved conflict is a cancer that will destroy the psychological safety and productivity of your entire team. The architect knows that their job is to be the mediator. They are not a judge who decides who is right or wrong. They are a facilitator who architects a structured, safe, and productive conversation. This is the mediation blueprint. Step 1. The one-on-one intel gathering. You will never have the initial conversation in a group setting. Your first step is to meet with each of the two individuals separately and privately. Your goal is to listen and to understand each person's perspective. You are not there to judge. You are there to gather data. Step 2. The joint session. The goal is to bring the two individuals together for a structured, facilitated conversation. You will begin by establishing ground rules. The goal of this conversation is not to decide who is right or wrong, but to find a professional path forward. The only rule is that we will be respectful, we will not interrupt, and we will focus on the problem, not the person. Step 3. The I statement protocol. The goal is to get each person to state their case using non-accusatory language. You will instruct them to start their sentences with when you, and I felt. This transforms an accusation like, you are always derailing my ideas into a statement like, when you immediately pointed out the flaws in my proposal, I felt like my idea wasn't given a fair chance. Step 4. The shared goal reframing. After both sides have spoken, your job is to find the shared goal buried underneath the conflict. What I'm hearing is that you both have different ideas, but you're both deeply committed to making this project a massive success. Is that a fair statement? Step 5. The go-forward plan. The meeting must end with a clear, co-created plan for how the two individuals will communicate going forward. Part 4. The career engine. From manager to true leader. Case File 13. The art of managing up. How to build a powerful partnership with your own boss. As a manager, you are now a crucial middle layer of your organization. You have a team that you're responsible for leading, and you have a boss who you are responsible for reporting to. The amateur manager sees their relationship with their boss as a one-way street. They wait for their boss to give them direction. They're a passive subordinate. The architect knows that their relationship with their boss is a strategic partnership that they must proactively design and manage. Managing up is not about manipulation or sucking up. It is the professional, architectural skill of deliberately managing the communication and expectations with your superior to ensure that you are both successful. Your boss's success is now a key part of your job description. This is the strategic partner blueprint. 1. The understand their world mandate. You must understand your boss's goals, their pressures, and their preferred communication style. What is the one single metric that my boss is being judged on by their boss? What is the problem that keeps them up at night? How do they prefer to communicate? Your job is to make your boss's life easier by aligning your communications with their priorities. 2. The no surprises rule. This is an unbreakable law. Your boss must never, ever be surprised by bad news in a public setting. The moment you identify a potential problem, you must bring it to your boss's attention immediately and privately. You will not just bring them the problem. You will bring them the problem along with your analysis and a proposed solution. This builds immense trust and makes your boss see you as a reliable, competent partner. 3. The weekly update habit. You will proactively manage your boss's perception of your team's performance. You will send your boss a brief, bulleted weekly wins and worries email every single Friday afternoon. It should have 3 sections: key accomplishments this week, priorities for next week, and potential risks/blockers. This simple 5-minute email is a masterpiece of managing up. It gives your boss the information they need to look good, creates a written record of your team's accomplishments, and completely eliminates the need for your boss to ever ask you, "What's the status of your team?" Case File 14. The Accountability Framework. How to hold your team to a high standard without micromanaging. You are a compassionate, empathetic leader. You have built a culture of psychological safety, but you are now facing a new challenge. A member of your team is underperforming. They are missing deadlines, and their quality of work is slipping. The amateur manager, in this situation, makes one of 2 mistakes. The first is avoidance. Fearful of a difficult conversation, they let the problem fester. This destroys team morale. The second mistake is micromanagement. They get angry and controlling, which destroys trust. The architect understands that accountability and compassion are not opposites. The most compassionate thing you can do is to hold them to a high standard and give them clear, direct, and supportive feedback. Accountability is not about punishment. It is about clarity. This is the Clarity Conversation Blueprint. Part 1. The data-driven opening. You will state the problem in a calm, factual, and non-judgmental way using the SBI framework. "Hi, team member. I wanted to talk about the Project Titan timeline. S. Over the last 3 weeks. B. I've observed that you have missed the last 3 deadlines. 1. The impact is that the entire project is now at risk. Can you help me understand your perspective?" Part 2. The listen and diagnose phase. Now, you will be silent and listen. Your job is to diagnose the root cause. Is this a problem of skill, meaning they don't know how? Or is it a problem of, meaning they are unmotivated? Part 3. The co-created action plan. You will not dictate a solution. You will collaboratively build a clear, simple, and time-bound action plan with the employee. The plan must be written down and have 2 to 3 specific, observable, and measurable goals. Part 4. The clear consequences close. This is the difficult but necessary final step. You must clearly and compassionately state the consequences if performance does not improve. I'm 100% confident we can get this back on track. It's also my responsibility to be clear about the expectations. If we don't see a significant improvement in the next 30 days, we will need to move to a more formal performance improvement plan. Case File 15. The leader's mindset. Handling imposter syndrome and the pressures of a management role. You are now a leader. You are the shield for your team. You are the one who is supposed to have the answers, to be the calm in the storm, to project unwavering confidence. But inside, a quiet, nagging voice of the saboteur has taken hold. It whispers, "You're a fraud. You're not a real leader. You're just at your old job title who got lucky. It's only a matter of time before they find you out." This is leader's imposter syndrome. It is an almost universal experience for new managers. The pressure to be the perfect, all-knowing born leader is immense. This internal pressure can lead to self-sabotaging behaviors like micromanagement or avoiding difficult decisions. The architect understands that their own mindset is the final and most important system they must manage. You cannot build a confident, high-performing team if your own internal operating system is riddled with the malware of self-doubt. This is the architect's antidote to imposter syndrome. 1. The reframe your role mandate. The flawed belief is, my job is to be the best expert and have all the answers. You must relentlessly remind yourself of your new identity. My job is not to be the best player. My job is to be the coach. My job is not to have the best ideas. It is to create an environment where the best ideas can win. 2. The seek feedback protocol. The imposter is terrified of feedback. The architect proactively and regularly asks their own boss for feedback. In your one-on-ones with your boss, you will ask, what is one thing I could be doing more of and one thing I could be doing less of to be a more effective leader for my team? This gives you real, actionable data to work with. 3. The find your peer group mandate. Management can be an incredibly lonely job. You must find a mastermind or a peer group of other managers. Having a safe, confidential space where you can share your struggles with others in the exact same position is the ultimate validation. When you hear that every single one of them also feels like an imposter sometimes, the feeling of shame dissolves. 4. The evidence dossier for leadership. You will keep a private leadership wins ledger. Track every time a member of your team gets promoted, every time your team successfully completes a difficult project, and every piece of positive feedback you receive. When the imposter syndrome strikes, you will fight its vague, emotional narrative with your own, hard, objective data. Conclusion: you are the architect of people. You began this roadmap at a moment of transition, standing at the uncomfortable threshold between being a doer and being a leader. You were armed with a myth, the myth of the born leader, the charismatic, all-knowing visionary who was simply built differently. You may have felt the cold grip of imposter syndrome, believing that you were not people person enough to succeed. That myth has now been fully deconstructed and replaced with a powerful, engineered reality. You now know that great leadership is not a personality trait. It is a skill. It is not a magical art. It is a system. You are not a boss. You are a team architect. You have the architectural blueprints for a modern, high-performing team. You have a systematic plan for navigating your first 90 days and for building the unbreakable foundation of trust. You have the tactical playbooks for the most critical interactions a leader can have: the one-on-one, the feedback conversation, the career discussion, and the team meeting. You have the frameworks for setting clear goals, for fostering psychological safety, and for navigating the inevitable conflicts that arise. Most importantly, you have moved beyond just managing your team. You have a clear roadmap for managing your own career and your own mindset. You have the tools to manage up and to build a powerful partnership with your own leaders. And you have the protocols for handling the immense pressure and the inevitable self-doubt that comes with the responsibility of leadership. The path from here is one of practice. It is the work of having the difficult conversations, of protecting your team, and of consistently applying these systems to create an environment where people can do their best work. Your empathy, your systematic thinking, and your commitment to the growth of others are not just soft skills. They are your leadership superpowers. You are no longer just a contributor to the work. You're a multiplier of it. You're the architect of a system that is far greater than the sum of its parts. You're the architect of people. Now go lead. Did this roadmap help you? Your journey is just beginning, but your feedback is crucial. If this book provided you with real-world value, the single best way to support this mission is to leave an honest review on Amazon. More by Gardinski. Your roadmap continues. You've mastered the fundamentals of leading a team. Now, it's time to scale your impact by mastering project execution and leading other leaders. Book recommendations include From Zero to Words That Sell and From Zero to Profitable.